The vast emptiness of space suddenly came alive with a burst of quantum energy. 50 sleek vessels materialized without warning, their hulls gleaming with an unusual metallic sheen that seemed to shift and shimmer against the dark background of space. The Galactic Confederation's monitoring stations erupted into chaos. Captain J. Park stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, his eyes calm and focused. Around him, the ship's systems hummed with a precision that spoke of advanced technology far beyond what any known civilization had achieved. The human fleet had arrived, and they were anything but ordinary. Sensors on the alien monitoring stations flickered and struggled to comprehend the sudden appearance. The ships displayed no recognizable configuration known to the Galactic Confederation. They were neither angular like Proximan vessels, nor organic-looking like Centaurian designs. These were something entirely different, a perfect blend of form and function that suggested a level of engineering mastery that defied current understanding. Admiral Kim Hyun, a veteran of countless interstellar encounters, stared at the holographic display with growing confusion. The human fleet moved with an impossible grace, their formation suggesting a level of coordination that seemed more like a single organism than separate vessels. Each ship seemed to breathe and respond to the slightest changes in space around them. "Impossible," muttered the alien communications officer, his tentacles trembling. The incoming fleet showed no signs of traditional faster-than-light communication markers. Instead, they moved with a synchronicity that suggested something far more advanced, a quantum-level communication network that the Confederation had only theorized about. Captain Park's first officer, Seong Woo, ran a series of internal diagnostics. The ship's adaptive nanohull was already mapping the surrounding space, creating a real-time defensive matrix that could respond faster than any known targeting system. Weapon systems remained passive but charged, a subtle reminder of the fleet's potential capabilities. The alien monitoring stations began to panic. Emergency communications burst across multiple channels. How could a species they had barely considered, humans from a small blue planet, suddenly appear with such technological sophistication? The quantum signature of their arrival suggested capabilities that would take most civilizations millennia to develop. Inside the lead vessel, Captain Park remained unreadable. His team moved with a calm precision that was more unnerving than any aggressive posture. They were prepared, but not threatening. Each action was calculated, each movement deliberate. The Galactic Confederation's primary communication hub began to light up. Diplomatic channels, military networks, and emergency response systems all activated simultaneously. The appearance of this human fleet was more than just an unexpected arrival. It was a fundamental challenge to everything they understood about technological progression. Sensors continued to gather data. The human ships showed no traditional weapon signatures, yet they radiated an energy potential that suggested they could defend themselves with capabilities beyond conventional understanding. They were not here to attack, but their very presence was a statement of technological superiority. Admiral Kim Hyun realized something profound was happening. This was not just an encounter between two civilizations. This was a moment that would redefine the understanding of technological development, of potential, of what it meant to be an advanced species in the universe. The quantum energy that had brought the human fleet began to stabilize. Each ship seemed to breathe, to adapt, to exist in a state of constant potential. They were not just machines. They were something more, a living testament to human innovation and capability. As the initial shock began to settle, one thing became clear. The universe had just changed, and humanity had arrived, not with a bang, but with a quiet, calculated precision that would reshape everything. The human fleet waited, silent, powerful, unexpected. The silence between the human fleet and the Galactic Confederation stretched like a thin, tense wire. Captain J. Park's fingers moved across a holographic interface, preparing a communication that would define humanity's first real contact with the broader galactic community. On the alien communication hub, hundreds of species watched with a mixture of fear and curiosity. The transmission began not with words, but with a series of mathematical sequences, prime numbers, quantum algorithms, and complex geometric patterns that demonstrated an understanding of universal communication principles far beyond expectations. Xiong Wu, the first officer, adjusted the quantum communication array. Their message wasn't just a greeting, it was a comprehensive demonstration of human intellectual capability. Each mathematical sequence was carefully crafted to show not aggression, but an invitation to understanding. The alien communication officers struggled to process the incoming data. It was too precise, too perfect. The mathematical sequences contained layers of information that seemed to adapt and change as they were being decoded. It was as if the communication itself was alive, responding to the receiver's attempt to understand. Admiral Kim Hyun watched the transmission with growing amazement. The human communication wasn't just a message. It was a complex puzzle that revealed more about human thinking with each layer decoded. Traditional alien communication protocols seemed clumsy and primitive in comparison. Suddenly, the mathematical sequences transformed. Words began to form, simple, direct, yet laden with profound meaning. "We come in peace," the message read, "but we are not here to be underestimated." The language was simultaneously a greeting and a warning. The alien diplomatic corps began to panic. This was not the communication of a young, inexperienced species. This was a carefully calculated approach that demonstrated a deep understanding of interstellar communication dynamics. Captain Park remained calm. Each word, each mathematical sequence was a carefully planned move in a complex diplomatic chess game. Humanity was introducing itself to the galaxy, and they were doing so with a combination of scientific precision and strategic intelligence. The communication continued to unfold. It contained not just a greeting, but a comprehensive overview of human technological capabilities. Quantum communication networks, adaptive AI systems, advanced energy production technologies. Each detail was presented not as a boast, but as a matter-of-fact demonstration of human potential. Alien analysis systems worked overtime. The human communication was breaking every known protocol. It wasn't just a message, it was a comprehensive intelligence briefing that challenged everything the Galactic Confederation understood about emerging civilizations. Xiong Wu monitored the communications progress. The quantum communication array was performing beyond even their own expectations. Each transmission carried multiple layers of information, adapting in real time to the receiver's processing capabilities. The final part of the transmission was perhaps the most surprising. Instead of a demand or a threat, it was an invitation, an open proposal for scientific and cultural exchange that was both humble and confident. The message suggested that humanity saw the galaxy not as a battlefield, but as a playground of potential collaboration. Admiral Kim Hyun realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. This was not first contact with a new species. This was an encounter with a civilization that had been quietly preparing, watching, and developing while the rest of the galaxy looked elsewhere. As the transmission completed, a profound silence fell across the Galactic Confederation's communication networks. The human fleet remained in position, patient, waiting. Their message was clear. They were here, they were ready, and they were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen before. The universe held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The tension in space grew thick as the human fleet prepared to demonstrate their technological capabilities. Captain Joe Park watched the alien observation platforms with a calm, calculated precision that spoke volumes about human preparedness. Suddenly, the lead human vessel began to change. Its hull shifted like liquid metal, transforming its configuration in milliseconds. Alien sensors struggled to track the rapid metamorphosis. One moment a sleek cruiser, the next a configuration that defied traditional spacecraft design. Xiong Wu managed the ship's adaptive systems. The nanomaterial hull was more than just a protective layer. It was a living, thinking membrane that could restructure itself faster than any known technology in the galaxy. Weapon ports appeared and disappeared. Defensive shields rippled like water, creating patterns that confused and amazed the watching alien observers. The first true demonstration came with energy manipulation. The human ship generated a quantum field that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around it. Nearby asteroids began to float, their molecular structures subtly influenced by the ship's advanced technology. It wasn't destruction the humans were showing. It was control. Admiral Kim Hyun watched in disbelief. The human technology wasn't just advanced. It was revolutionary. Their energy production systems seemed to draw power from quantum fluctuations, creating massive amounts of clean, stable energy with no apparent source. An artificial intelligence system became visible on the ship's external displays. Unlike rigid alien AI, this system moved and responded with an almost organic flexibility. It was making complex calculations, adjusting ship systems, and predicting potential scenarios faster than entire alien computer networks. The ship's defensive capabilities were equally impressive. When a test missile was launched from a nearby alien observation platform, the human vessel didn't just defend itself. It captured the missile's energy, transformed it, and redirected it into a complex light display that mapped the missile's entire trajectory. Communication systems demonstrated an equally shocking level of sophistication. Multiple quantum entanglement channels opened simultaneously, showing the ability to communicate across impossible distances with zero lag time. It was as if distance meant nothing to human technology. Medical scanning technologies briefly activated, revealing another layer of human innovation. The ship could analyze complex biological systems from vast distances, mapping molecular structures with a precision that made alien medical technology look primitive. Propulsion was perhaps the most shocking demonstration. The human vessel moved without traditional thrust, seeming to fold space around itself. One moment it was in one location, the next it appeared hundreds of kilometers away without any visible movement. The adaptive AI began broadcasting a series of mathematical proofs and scientific demonstrations. It wasn't just showing off. It was inviting the alien civilizations to understand the principles behind their technology. Each demonstration was an open invitation to scientific dialogue. Weapons systems, when briefly activated, showed no signs of destructive intent. Instead, they demonstrated precise energy manipulation, the ability to neutralize threats without causing damage. It was a technology of prevention, not aggression. Climate control systems became briefly visible, showing the ship could create stable environmental conditions that could potentially support multiple biological life forms. The implications were staggering. This was technology that could potentially solve planetary survival challenges. As the demonstration concluded, the human fleet remained in perfect formation. They had shown their capabilities not as a threat, but as a potential partner. Each technological marvel was presented with a scientific clarity that was both humble and profound. Captain Park allowed himself a slight smile. They had shown exactly what was needed, enough to inspire wonder, not fear, enough to demonstrate capability without showing all their cards. The Galactic Confederation was left stunned. Humanity had just redefined what was possible in technological development. And they were just getting started. The diplomatic chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 12 different alien civilizations sat around a circular quantum-projected conference table, their eyes fixed on the human delegation, led by Captain Park and First Officer Seong-woo. The room itself was a marvel of alien technology. Floating holographic displays, translation systems that worked faster than thought, environmental controls that adapted to each species' unique biological requirements. Yet the humans seemed entirely comfortable, their adaptive technology seamlessly integrating with the alien systems. Captain Park spoke first. His words were simple, direct, but laden with profound implications. "We're not here to replace your systems," he explained. "We're here to collaborate." The translation systems captured not just his words, but the underlying intention, a genuine desire for mutual understanding. Seong-woo managed the technological interface. With subtle hand movements, he projected comprehensive data about human scientific achievements. Each projection was carefully curated, showing not just technological capabilities, but the collaborative process behind human innovation. The alien diplomats watched with a mixture of fear and fascination. Humanity was presenting itself not as a conquering force, but as a potential partner. Their technological demonstrations had already shown unparalleled capabilities, yet their diplomatic approach suggested something even more powerful: intellectual humility. A Proximan representative, known for their aggressive diplomatic styles, attempted to challenge the humans. "And what do you want in return?" he demanded, his multiple tentacles bristling with suspicion. Captain Park's response was unexpected. "Knowledge," he said simply. "Cultural exchange. The opportunity to understand and grow together." It was not a negotiation tactic. It was a genuine invitation to collaborative exploration. The diplomatic systems began recording every nuance. The humans were introducing a fundamentally different approach to interstellar relations. They weren't seeking territory or resources. They were seeking understanding. Technological proposals began to flow. Humanity offered solutions to complex scientific challenges that had stumped multiple alien civilizations for centuries. Climate restoration technologies, quantum communication network improvements, advanced medical research techniques that could potentially cure genetic disorders across multiple species. Each proposal was presented not as a gift, but as a collaborative opportunity. The humans made it clear they weren't saviors. They were partners, willing to learn as much as they were willing to share. The diplomatic chamber's environmental systems subtly adjusted. The humans' adaptive technology was already improving the communication infrastructure, making translations more nuanced, communication channels more stable. Xiaomu demonstrated a particularly impressive technological solution: a quantum communication network that could potentially connect distant civilizations with unprecedented reliability. It wasn't just a technological marvel. It was a bridge between worlds. The most surprising element was humanity's approach to potential conflicts. Instead of traditional diplomatic posturing, they presented comprehensive conflict resolution frameworks. These weren't just theoretical models. They were practical, adaptable systems that could potentially transform interstellar conflict resolution. Hours passed. The initial tension began to dissolve. Alien representatives found themselves genuinely listening, genuinely engaging. The humans weren't just presenting technology. They were presenting a new way of thinking about interstellar cooperation. As the initial diplomatic session concluded, something fundamental had changed. The Galactic Confederation was beginning to see humanity not as a new species to be categorized or controlled, but as a potential key to solving complex galactic challenges. Captain Park's final statement captured the essence of their approach. "We're not here to lead," he said. "We're here to learn. Together." The translation systems captured not just the words, but the profound sincerity behind them. The diplomatic chamber fell silent. The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. 2 years had passed since the human fleet's unexpected arrival. The galaxy was no longer the same place it had been before their emergence. Transformation happened slowly, then all at once. Scientific research centers across multiple planetary systems now featured human collaborative teams. Their approach was unlike anything previously experienced: innovative, adaptable, and remarkably humble. Where other civilizations saw barriers, humans saw opportunities for creative problem-solving. Captain Joe Park watched from the observation deck of the primary research station. Alien and human scientists worked together, their technological interfaces blending seamlessly. The quantum communication networks humanity had introduced had revolutionized interstellar research, connecting distant research facilities with unprecedented efficiency. The Galactic Confederation's leadership structure had fundamentally changed. Where once rigid hierarchies dominated, now more flexible collaborative frameworks emerged. Humanity hadn't conquered through military might, but through intellectual collaboration and genuine openness. Xiaomu managed the diplomatic integration protocols. Each new scientific breakthrough became a shared achievement, not a competition. Medical technologies developed through human-alien collaborations had already begun solving genetic challenges that had plagued multiple civilizations for centuries. Climate restoration projects on devastated planetary systems showed humanity's most profound contribution. Using advanced nanotechnology and quantum environmental modeling, human teams helped restore ecosystems that had been considered permanently damaged. They didn't just offer solutions, they worked alongside local populations, respecting existing cultural frameworks. The economic models of galactic trade had transformed. Humanity introduced collaborative economic frameworks that emphasized mutual growth over individual gain. Resources were no longer seen as something to be conquered, but as opportunities for shared development. Educational systems across multiple civilizations began incorporating human learning methodologies. Their approach emphasized adaptive thinking, creative problem-solving, and collaborative learning. Traditional educational models that had existed for thousands of years were being reimagined. Technological development accelerated at an unprecedented rate. The quantum communication networks humanity introduced allowed instant knowledge sharing across vast distances. Research that would have taken decades now happened in months, with multiple species contributing simultaneously. The most surprising transformation happened in conflict resolution. Humanity's diplomatic frameworks emphasized understanding over confrontation. Complex historical conflicts that had existed for generations began finding peaceful resolutions through collaborative dialogue. Artificial intelligence systems developed through human-alien collaborations demonstrated capabilities that redefined intelligence itself. These weren't just computing systems, they were adaptive learning platforms that could understand complex emotional and cultural nuances. Space exploration entered a new era, where once different civilizations competed for territorial expansion. Now collaborative exploration became the norm. Humanity showed that the universe was vast enough for everyone, with unlimited potential for discovery. Cultural exchanges became as important as technological collaborations. Art, music, philosophical frameworks from different civilizations began blending in unprecedented ways. Humanity's approach emphasized understanding over judgment, curiosity over fear. Captain Park understood something profound had happened. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy. They had simply shown a different way of existing, one of collaboration, mutual respect, and continuous learning. The transformation wasn't about technological superiority. It was about a fundamental shift in perspective. Humanity had introduced a new way of thinking about existence itself, not as a competition, but as a collaborative journey of discovery. As the research station's quantum windows displayed the vast, beautiful complexity of space, Xiang Wu turned to Captain Park. "We're just getting started," he said quietly. The universe listened, full of infinite potential. "Would you like me to elaborate on any specific aspect of this final part of the story?"